Okay guys, so it's me again. We're heading up. You have all this beautiful nature to look at. And my face. If you wanted to look at that, you have that to look at too. It's optional though. Oh, looks like we got a map here. Look at this. So this is a map. Yes, it's real paper. Please don't lick it. Refrain, refrain. Oh, the bridge is right up here. We've been here before. We're pros at this. I could say we know what we're doing, but we don't. But that's okay.
Lost again.
We have gotten lost down here before. Actually, it's really fun. Funny when you're not the person lost. Look at that nature. Woo! Nature. Woo!
So,
nature, so much fun. Back here, well, not Jay, if you didn't know, there is some place called the Hippie Tree that we are heading to. It's a portal to hell. It's a portal to hell. And I've heard some very interesting rumors that if you walk around the main tree, you get sent to hell. I mean, so we're pretty much going there anyways, so I'm kidding. No, if we do this, let's see what happens. I mean, the worst that happens is we get sent to the underworld. I mean, come on. It's hot enough here already. I don't think it makes much of a difference. Can we just like look at all of this vegetation? Oh, I'm so out of shape. It looks like we're in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, but we're not. We're in Michigan still, so home away from home. We go up here, right?
yes.
Yeah, look, here's another map for all you people who don't know what a map is. This is another map. Exciting. There's so many cool trees here. This is a tree, in case you didn't know what a tree was. Or a map, or you just don't leave the house like me. This path is all stones up through here. And then a little waterfall. It's so cute. So it's really hot out now, and we're in the bright sun. I should have brought other people. I'm doing this by myself. Why am I doing this by myself? Oh, I'm not. That's right. You are here. We are here.
Yep.
We're there. No. It's here. Trust me.
Oh, you found this.
I know what I'm doing. But it looks like we're on the right track because I keep on stepping on stones that are multicolored and not by nature, so that's spray paint. We're gonna get some amazing shots. I'm so excited. I haven't been here in over a year, and this place is one of the creepiest places. Oh, that's spray paint. So, the further we go, the more I realize that I did actually take the right trail. Wow, look at me doing something right for once in my life. Shall we get this? We have arrived at the Hippie Tree. Congrats. I'm so proud of myself. I did something right. So I'm gonna flip this around so you guys don't have to stare at my beautiful face anymore. I'm sorry. But we're gonna get some video of the spray paint. So, and then we're gonna probably settle down here for a little bit so that you guys can just settle in and listen to the creepy stories that I have to tell. So get ready, because we're about to go into a literal pit of hell. So, whew.
Watch your step.
Yeah, gotta watch my step. Yeah, there's lots of roots, like huge roots. On the bright side though, they are spray painted. Hippie Tree. So, there's some crazy stuff here, guys. All right, first up on my list of things, the Hippie Tree. welcome to the Hippie Tree. This is where we are at. This place has been in countless stories from the locals, from people who used to work at the hospital. This is known as part of the hospital grounds till this day. Patients used to wander back here and get lost in these woods. As I previously said in the video, there are 408 acres of land that not only the building was built on, but all of the forest behind it. This happens to be located in part of the forest and is on part of the trail that is led back from the hospital grounds themselves. So if you are just wandering around perhaps, there's a slim chance that you may come upon this place and have no idea what it is. One of the old stories here, before the whole tales of it being the portal to hell came about. So the two boys were wandering back here in the woods, in the tunnels, and had somehow gotten lost. Now they had no idea where they were, so they just kept going further and further and further. Now there are a couple of facilities for more of the patients that were like more hostile and had to be watched a little more carefully. Apparently this person had escaped from one of these buildings and had found their way into one of the tunnels where the boys were. Inside of the tunnels, one of the inmates from the building had stumbled across the boys. The two of them didn't know what to do, and one of them had managed to escape. Now, no one really knows what happened down there, or what happened to the boys, or what happened, the conflict between, but one of the boys had managed to escape, and the only thing left was some emblem from the other boy that had been dropped in the tunnels. Now, a couple of weeks or days later, while they had sent out a search party for the boys, they had stumbled across the body of the one boy, and it was here at the Hippie Tree.
And that was back in the 1950s.
Yes, that was in the 1950s. So, the grounds here are now said to be not only haunted, but a portal to the underworld. And the tree itself is long dead and has been for quite some time, but the remains of it are still here and have been spray painted. Okay. What was that?
That wasn't me, I'm right here.
I know that wasn't you. I don't know what that was. So, there's only two of us out here, guys.
And
Bugs
local
are
lore.
insane. Yeah. The local folklore has lots of crazy stories about this place. Also surrounding usually like the base of the tree, which I believe is just over here, where it's said that if you travel around the entire base of the tree, you will get transported to hell. Yay. The area itself is actually really big. Like the entire spray painted area ranges not just the base of the tree, but all of the surrounding trees. It is
A good acre and a half.
it's a good acre or two of just spray painted trees and forestness. It's pretty amazing to come see. And I just hate to be the person who randomly stumbled upon this spot and didn't know what it was, because that would suck. So, yeah, if you're ever up here and are just wandering in the woods, be aware that there's a portal to hell in your local neighborhood. So the hospital grounds are north. So the Beauty is Therapy plan is something that I talked to you guys about just a little bit. I didn't want to say too much. So Beauty is Therapy. It was created officially by Dr. Kirkbride, which is what the grounds themselves were named after. And since hence Kirkbride Hall, Kirkbride, the entire name of the grounds where like the refunding program was. Everything that's come here to refurbish the place and give it life again. Because a lot of the buildings you'll see in some of the pictures that we've taken are still very run down. I know a lot of these buildings, well really just building 50 and the Ward Center there that has been refurbished, has tried to stick as closely. Don't laugh at me, they're everywhere.
They're all over me too. We're tasty. Tasty little immortals. Oh, probably the flies, you know? Flies, portal to hell, there's all these flies.
That's creepy. I don't want to think about that.
Ooh, cardinal. Here's a happy thought.
Oh my gosh, it's a bird. Oh, don't leave. Do you want to be my friend? Be my friend, please. I don't think you want to be my friend.
It doesn't want to be here either.
Yeah, nothing living or with
Yeah,
any...
except for that weird crab spider.
Yeah, there was a crab. Ah, I just remembered I'm sitting on the log where the crab spider is.
We're all eating.
Great. Well, it is a giant dead tree, so
But that crab spider was pretty cool.
that was pretty weird. I have never seen anything like that before. It was a giant. I wish I would have gotten a picture of it, but it crawled away like really fast. Yeah, it was like. So yeah, I don't know. This place is really. I get the creeps. Just being out here. It's just has this weird feel to it. And it's cooler down here. It's so much cooler. And like inside, when we were in the one part of the building, they told us not to film, but we were in one of the unrenovated buildings taking photographs with the rest of the tours. And she mentioned to me, it got really like, there was a temperature drop in there.
And that was just before we heard the voice.
Yeah, and that was just before we heard this voice. And I don't know, I could have sworn we both heard it at the same time. It wasn't like some kind of voice, it was...
Creepy little kid voice.
Yeah, it was a boy saying dad. Or...
Squeaky. That's what you know.
I know it is. And I don't know, I didn't expect to hear anything like that. And I mean, they weren't...
Caboose had went off in the totally different direction to chase
Yeah.
off a lady and her dog and a grown man.
Yes, a grown man. There was no one else
So
in the building except for us. No one is allowed to be in that building. There's keep out signs posted everywhere. All the doors are locked. Everything is shut down in there. Specifically for the fact that there's a lot of vandalisms that go on here, and it's sad to see the inside of these buildings that have just been torn apart. Not only just from the years of use, but from people going in there and just destroying stuff. And the one building that they didn't let us go in anymore, we're putting our money on the fact that the floor probably rotted through because they had you really watch out. They had to lay planks down so that you could step on part of the floor because the floor was all original and the floor was all rotting out underneath you. So you had to be really careful where you were stepping. But also...
And that was the violent
my eyeballs are not
men's
tasty.
ward, too. And so that was,
Yeah.
that one was really
And
interesting.
it was so cool. They had these old shower rooms, and it was all tile floors, and like walls, everything was just these little tiles, especially in the one area that he was talking about on the tour now, the tour guide Joe. He was telling us how the floor was all marble tiles that had been hand put down. You can't go into that building anymore. But there was so much destruction, and he had told us from the last tour, it was not that way before. People had broke in there and purposefully spray painted and destroyed all of the old back rooms, and you weren't even allowed to go into like the shower areas anymore because it had been so badly damaged, and there was glass and stuff all over the floor. Yeah, they had to redo the walls, right? Because
in the tunnel.
yeah, because people had gone in there and spray painted such crude, nasty things on the walls, they had to redo all the walls. Because people just can't simmer down. It was just like, it's... You can feel almost this overwhelming sense of just sadness in there. And not because of like, the place itself was like, put through so much hell in its last couple of years of use, but because it's just been so mistreated afterwards. It just really, the whole negativity is like sucking you in, especially when you start going down towards the tunnels. And there are certain areas in the buildings that they had to block off the tunnels because the tunnels themselves connect. I'm hoping that was an animal. I'm hoping that was an animal. I don't know what that was. It's getting to me. The people there, it was even worse than it is now, where people were so ashamed to have family members that had mental disabilities and illnesses that they would just lock them in their basements and in the attics of their homes until they came here. And this place is one of the best places that have this whole beauty is therapy thing and this whole mindset to make it feel like a home. It was so much better and so much nicer before the whole push of drugs and being locked in your rooms came into play in the 60s.
Electric shock therapy.
Yeah, lobotomies.
Boards and that.
Yeah, and just leaving them there for days. It destroyed this whole place. But before that, it was this place where people could come after being locked away and hated and scorned on by people that they literally didn't know anything or didn't even know what was going on. And they could come here and just be so free. It was amazing, but then that all changed and people did what they wanted to do. They had a choice and they had a say in what happened with their lives, just because their lives weren't like perfect and they had these problems. They weren't treated like animals anymore, and it made so much of a difference and so much of an impact on all of them that it was just I can't even imagine how terrible that would be to have that like ripped away from you and then just to be sat in a cell for the last few years of your life.
Oh, and then the children that were like the one that they'll read about that were locked here just because the parents couldn't handle
just because the parents couldn't handle the kids, so they would pay the people here to take their children and lock them up.
But that was
and the women whose husbands would just toss them in here after they start acting a little weird right around menopause and throw them into a cell here and just leave them because they couldn't handle them anymore. And the same thing happens with children that had no problems with them whatsoever. They didn't have any need to be here, yet people would still just, I don't want my kid no more, here, take him, throw him in a cell. A man who had this happen to him when he was 12 years old. His parents drove him here and left him here, and some of the stuff that happened to him I cannot actually say, but it just ruined a lot of people's lives, including his, where he didn't even get out of here until they shut the place down and kicked everyone out on the streets, because he was, I think, 18 when they let him go, and they just kicked him out. And that was after they started using drugs and restraints and keeping people locked in their rooms. That was after that whole time period. And you'll read about some of the stuff that they did to him and some of the torment that he endured. And it's just endured is a word. Did you know that? endured.
Well, it sounded like his one friend that
Mike
did a couple
was his friend.
commentary afterwards. More stuff happened to him. The hands of a bad doctor, Dr. Phil or something that worked here.
Dr. Phil.
No, not Dr. Phil. There
Dr.
goes
Phil.
my lisp again. Phil.
Phil.
Yeah.
Dr. Phil. Really morbid to think about, but like, you have to, because it happened. It's a part of history. Happened here in Michigan. It's just, I mean, it's obviously not going on anymore, but it was then.
Living
The
on the
people
street
who could be in nice places like this when it was in its prime time.
and not doping everybody up on drugs and
Just, they're in jails, in prisons, all across the world right now. Yeah, and that's the sad thing, is it's still happening. Like, people are still getting treated like animals. This is the 21st century. Like,
and as we
That's
know, there's a whole
insane.
bunch of pseudoscience out there that's not helping out.
yeah. all this stuff that they're trying to do, all this psychiatric stuff, it really doesn't help. And they're just, it's sad. It's really sad. You just hear about like all the people who were raised in places like this and died in places like this, including here. And I don't know. Alright, well, I can say freely right now, we have not circled the tree yet.
No, we're not going to.
I am. Gotta live on the wild side. I'm kidding. But no,
If you can see my face right now.
you don't want to see our face, it's sad. It's depressing. Just like my life.
Oh, watch out for glass. It looks like, yep, people have been drinking back here. Be careful.
Great. People still can't reply. She gets a kick out of it when
I'm sending you back.
she just laughs so hard when I do that. But no, people still can't respect this place, obviously, because like
Trash.
Twash, like me, is still here. I'm kidding. But the bee that just flew into my hair wasn't. I love you guys. I'll see you in just a little bit, okay? Bye. Oh, stop. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. That was part 2 of the road trip to Traverse City Asylum. Part 3 is going to be coming out next Friday. If you guys liked the video, please leave a gentle tap on the like button. And make sure to subscribe for new videos every Friday and bloopers coming out on the Mondays. Thank you guys so much again, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!